Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, whatever time it is where you're at, whatever day it is where you're at. Welcome. This is Gwen Lepard with Ask How Do I Love Myself Today? And asking you, how do you love yourself today? Today I'm sitting in front of a very sad bird of paradise, one of the larger plants. This one's been in too small of a pot for way too long, and so the container that I am using for today, which means what I'd like to talk about, is about self-growth and personal development, personal growth, and sometimes, like this plant back here, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm going to switch it around. Here we go. So sometimes, like a plant like this, it ends up super root bound with other plants growing in and many weeds growing in. And that's really a metaphor for what a lot of our lives look like. It's overgrown, full of weeds, especially our mindset, and not even enough dirt really to sustain it. Sure, it's getting water, and it's hosting, I don't think you can see these, it's hosting a lot of spiders, a lot of spider webs. But this is what happens when we're going through self-growth. We are living our lives, and things are going great, and we think that the pot that we're in has enough room for us to expand our roots and nourish us and give us the life that we say that we want. And when in reality, we are in a container, a pot that is too small for us, that is full of weeds, those limiting beliefs, the repeating thoughts that happen every day in your life. And I'll get the stats on that. I know it's like the amount of thoughts that we have that were yesterday thoughts is just massive. There's very few original thoughts happening every day, and we're repeating thoughts that are disempowering, thoughts about what we don't want, and how somebody hurt us, or how some situation hurts, and how things aren't working out the way that we want things to work out. And when you have that kind of monologue going on in the background in your mind all the time, it's really tough to love yourself. Because you think that, you're ugly, or you're fat, or someone told you that you could never be a leader, like what happened to me. And I got all those other ones too. In grade school, I was a dog. Like, you are so ugly. And those things hurt, and they stick around for like years, for decades, and we don't even know that they're there, running in the background, causing self-sabotage and causing DL. Oh my gosh, do you want to come on with me, DL? It'd be so awesome to have you in here for this conversation. It'd be amazing. Just let me know if you want to, because I would be super happy to have you in on this conversation, which is being overgrown in your in your space. And so then I look at my tower garden, which is, let's see, over here. Now, we have a combination of some new thoughts that are starting to perk up, and some old, a little overgrown, but also doing quite healthy, watercress, and savory, and parsley. This parsley is amazing. We have this Brussels sprout that we've been nibbling on just about every day. Okay, that's cool, DL. I'm glad that you just finished meditating and you're taking care of yourself. That's beautiful. So I have a tower garden to join, to share the camera with. So that's super cool. And then there's some of these new plants that are they're taking their sweet time, and it might be because of these larger plants that they're, and we haven't had a whole lot of sunshine. We've had a lot more May gray happening around here. So this little guy down under here, I think that's basil, and it seems to be growing a bit. So a bit on the tower update. And then there's this guy, and obviously has not been a priority to get it repotted and into a space where it would be able to grow better. In fact, all those little extra starts there, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5, maybe 6. A half dozen other plants are sharing the space with that one original plant. And so where in your life are you sharing space with others that you think that you're responsible for them? And this was a huge learning for me in my self-growth, is I felt I was responsible for everybody in my life. I felt I was responsible for the results of my clients. And I would give and give and give. And no matter how much you give to somebody, if they're not ready and if they're not doing the work, they're not going to get results. Or if they do get results, they could be spotty. And, I see this in my own life where I work and work and work on stuff. And yet there's like 1 or 2 key things that if I did those, I would have exponential growth. And it's like this plant behind me. It needs a new pot, and it needs these other attached plants either need to have their own pots, or the pot needs to be big enough that they can all share resources. Because sometimes that works, and other times, all you end up with is a very crowded space. So, yeah, do not accept responsibility without authority. That is DL's rally cry. Fabulous. I'm actually going to be, today is also my 9th day. So every 9th day, I have on the calendar to not do work. And I tell you, it is really, really difficult as an entrepreneur to pick a day where I don't do any work, because it's like leading up to it, I've had all this drama and I've been doing some pretty massive growth, a lot of tears, a lot of being in a really, really uncomfortable place. And yes, other plants taking over your space. Yeah. What people are taking over your space in your life? Maybe they need to be given their own pots, or you need to find your own pot to grow in. So that's been going on, and I've been and then finding harmony within some of the relationships that have been a challenge for me. And that's one reason why I'm the relationship optimizer, because I find ways to either rewire myself or reframe a situation so that there's a better outcome, or that I realize that the outcome that I thought that my old programming and all those thoughts and those weeds were giving me a different outcome than what I could look at it in a different way, and it could be a different outcome. Yes, you need to find your own pot, DL. You definitely do. You're spectacular. You deserve to have lots of room to grow. And so let's see. Back to the pot, the plant and pot analogy. The day off. That's where I was at. So taking today off. It's like there was already something scheduled, and it's like, okay, well, it's supposed to be my day off. But this is actually a radio interview where I'm going to be co-hosting, and it's live, and I'll put a link underneath the video. It's at 11 Pacific this morning, and it's with Karen Can, who is somebody I really admire. She does this. She's a spiritual medical doctor, and she has a process that helps people move forward where other things haven't worked for them. And she has an amazing clearing spray. I thought, it's like her free gift. I'm like, how can you give a clearing spray and get it immediately online? Well, there is a trick to that, so I'll ask her about that. So hopefully you'll join us for that live interview at 11 with Jonathan. Jonathan, I'll put all that information in the below this when I'm done. And so I'm sitting here going, okay, it's my 9th day, and I'm supposed to be taking this off, and I've had all these days where I wasn't getting a lot of work done because I was emoting and clearing, and then I realized that all of that emoting and clearing and self-growth is actually part of my job. That my job is to be the best leader that I can be for you. And part of that is going through my own stuff and having those days where I'm sobbing on the couch and need someone to come and hold me. Or I'm sobbing in front of my computer and there's no one there. Or, have a reframe, rewire a situation and look at it in a different way that actually ends up giving me energy instead of making me sad or have longing or being in an uncomfortable situation, having an uncomfortable feeling around something. Being able to flip it around and create something that actually creates fuel for me and energy so that when I do sit down and I start working on the projects that I planned on working on, I get them done so fast. Things happen so fast. And so many people push through. It's like, I see it out there, crush it and push through and beat yourself up and get things done. And I had to fire that boss. I had that mean boss, and I had to fire that boss because everything that I did when I was under that kind of pressure and pushing through, even though it didn't feel right, has ended up blowing up in my face or not working. So I've discovered that it's better to do things when I'm full, I have room to grow, the weeds have been pulled out, and I can at least do that for the plant today. And I'm just coming from a space of loving myself. And what's best for me ends up being best for everybody around me. So that's one of the big things I really want to share today in personal growth and development. The people around you can get really uncomfortable because, here you're growing and you're outside of what their comfort level and their view of you is. And so instead of trying to get them to come along, sometimes the best thing to do is to just love them and love yourself and lead by example and don't feel like you're responsible for how they're feeling because you don't have authority over their feelings, as DL says. So grow and love yourself and find the place where you're planted and nourished in a way that allows you to grow to your full potential. Because if you're not living your full potential, there are people in this world that are missing out because you are meant to lead them. As long as I've kept myself small and been hiding, there have been people that have been waiting for me to finally get myself out of my funk and out of my belief that I'm not worthy or that I'm not a leader because my former husband said, "You'll never be a leader. You don't have the stomach for it." Well, he was talking about a totally different kind of leadership than I am. There's a number of different kinds of leaders, a number of different ways that people lead. You can lead from a big stage like Tony Robbins does. You can be the lead dog in a pack, which pulls everybody else and shows them the direction. You can be the guide by the side, running alongside, going, "Hey, yeah," cheering them on. You're going the right direction. I've been up there. I know what's happening. I'm just a couple steps ahead of you, but everything's cool up ahead. Or there might be a couple of bumps, but you're going to get through it. And then there's the one that cheers from behind and, is like creates impetus going forward. And yeah, I've never worked in a corporation where I was in a leadership position, and I've never been a president, or have I? Well, I've never been a president of a big corporation or anything like that. So I had this belief that I had to do those kinds of things to be a leader. I've had all kinds of leadership training. By doing this 143rd day of 365 days of how do I love myself today, having that consistency, persistence, and dedication to doing this, that shows leadership. So I'm leading by example, and I'm also the guide by the side. And I just, I want you to know that when you're growing, it's okay. I'm here if you need help. If you want to overcome your relationship baggage, I've got you. You want to optimize your self-love, figure out the best way to really bring that into your life and optimize everything around you and how to take care of yourself best. I've got you. You want to open to your full potential. Let's do it together. I keep opening to my full potential, and it's allowing me to own my power. And I know that that's one thing that can be a real challenge, especially as women. It's like we're told that we can't own our own power. My former husband did everything he could to belittle me and tear me down because I was a really powerful woman when he met me. And it made him very uncomfortable. So He did everything he could to get me to no longer own that power. And I was a people pleaser, so I did it. And I lost myself totally. And now I'm really, really happy with who I am and how I'm growing. And I'm perfect and growing. I think that's one of my favorite catchphrases. It's like, I'm perfect and growing. Instead of beating myself up that I could be better than I am in this very moment, it's like, I'm perfect right now. And I'm growing because there's things that I see that I would like to have more of. And I'd like to be able to help more people be able to feel the same way. So if you like the video, share it. Give me some likes, some loves. The more activity Facebook sees, the more it will share this video with others. So I appreciate you. I encourage you to love yourself and plant yourself in a container where you get plenty of nourishment, water, sun, so that you can thrive and grow. And all that responsibility is for you. Call Jeffy, you just came in as I'm saying goodbye. So watch later or now. Go back and watch it. It'll be up in just a couple of moments. So day 143 of 365 days of asking, how do I love myself today? Ask yourself, how do I love myself today? And be kind, respect yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.